What's up, everybody? Welcome to the Action Network podcast presented by DraftKings. I'm your host, Chris Raybon. This is our NFL Week 10 betting preview. We're going to talk sides, totals, props, money line, dogs, anytime touchdowns, and of course, we will build our Sunday six-pack of Against the Spread bets with the help of my co-host, the Prime Minister of Degenerate Nation, Stuckey. Stuck, what's going on? You continue to have an excellent year. I thought I was going to do a little better than I did, but just lost that over for the pod with the ridiculous fourth quarter, the under, excuse me, with the ridiculous fourth quarter for the Raiders game. But how you feeling heading into Week 10?
Good. Should have been a clean sweep again, but CJ Stroud got hurt. Offensive lineman got hurt. They couldn't punch it in from the one. So that was unfortunate to lose that bet because it looked like they were going to run away with it early.
Yeah.
So that was unfortunate, but that's what happens. Sometimes your quarterback gets hurt. Obviously, if I knew it was Davis Mills, I wouldn't have bet them money line against the Broncos, but it is what it is. Yeah, it's a good week, but who cares? We're on to next. Let's get to Week 10.
Any thoughts on the Thursday night football game before we jump into the six-pack? You got the Broncos hosting the Raiders, who were just very weird last week with their, like, they just benched all their rookie receivers and just kind of like, it was like they're in must-win mode or something, but it's like, no, you're not good. So I don't know what to think of the Raiders. Any thoughts on this matchup in Denver?
The Broncos are probably the luckiest team in the NFL. If you think about their wins over the last month, like they beat Davis Mills, they beat the Jets by two in London when they had negative 10 passing yards. They had that crazy comeback against Jackson Dart when they were getting blown out at home. Crazy comeback against the Eagles. Like, this team is just running so good in fourth quarters and who they're getting, and when the injuries happen on other teams. Bo Nix has been bad, except for like a couple of fourth quarter drives. Like, all of his EPAs against two teams. It's like against the Bengals and the Cowboys, the two worst defenses in the league. And there's no Surtain. The defense is certainly different without him. We saw that early with Stroud in there. The Texans were moving the ball. I don't know. The problem is Nix looks good against horrific defenses. The Raiders have a horrific defense. They blew him out twice last year, won by double digits in both meetings. And this is a horrendous spot. So I think the number's too high, but I don't know exactly how to quantify the spot. The Raiders are on short week after OT, and they played a full OT game, and their defense was on the field the entire second half, the entire overtime, and they wore down. Now they got to go to altitude on a short week on a Thursday. It's only happened one other time. Team got blown out. Teams in this spot, short week after OT game, playing on Thursday or Friday, 5-25 against the spread. 5-25. So it's a nightmare spot. The Raiders without Miller and their offensive line issues against that Denver pass rush could be problematic as well. So I don't know. Numbers, I would say, if it gets to 10, I'm going to have to play the Raiders. Hopefully it doesn't. And this is probably a pass.
Yeah, it's one of those things where it's just, I think there's more going on with this Raider team that I can't really quantify because it's coaching wise behind the scenes, but I just am really confused with what they're doing, and I don't know how much Brock Bowers makes an impact in this matchup versus the last one where it was kind of just a lot more set up for him. This could be a tougher matchup. Surtain doesn't factor in as much with that, and you traded Myers, so yeah, this is a team that had 3 first downs a few weeks ago. Yeah, pass for me. But let's get into the Week 10 Sunday six-pack. You're up 35-22. Still got some work to do. You've just been, I mean, no breaks all year, pretty much. And you've been hitting the money line dogs, the touchdowns. So good stuff. You're up first. Where are you going for week 10?
Yeah, I actually think it's 35-21. I give you a point for the total.
Oh,
I thought you hit your total, but
no. That was it was the
oh, that the 43 points in the fourth quarter and overtime.
yeah.
Yeah, I got fortunate with my total with the Chargers, uh, the Titans scoring a couple non-offensive touchdowns.
Yeah. DK
Um,
like a week late or two, whatever, 2 weeks late.
yeah,
Uh,
yeah, of course DK scored.
the first touchdown, too, I think, wasn't it? Yeah.
And then we couldn't hit our touchdown parlay. I got mine in, but then Kraft got hurt,
Mm-hmm.
which was
And
unfortunate.
Fitzpatrick, I had Fitzpatrick too, and he had like the perfect opportunity, but of course he
Yeah, I
just
was thinking of you. I was rooting for you after Kraft went down.
Ugh.
Am I up first?
Yeah.
Okay, for my
But
first pick of the Week 10 Sunday six pack, we're getting ugly. I'm going with the Washington Commanders plus 8.5 at home against the Detroit Lions. I listen, the Commanders are horrendous. I get it. They've lost four straight. They've been blown out in three straight. But I can't get to this number in any world. So I was anticipating this number to be like 3.5. And then obviously Daniels gets hurt, probably out for the year. This is assuming the difference between Daniels and Mariota is like 6 points. No. I mean, I have it at like three. I mean, Daniels has not been playing great this year. I mean, if you just look at PFF grade, he's like a 10th or 11th. Mariota's eighth. You look at EPA plus completion percentage over expectation. Mariota's 21st this year. Daniels is 23rd. Over the past two seasons, among quarterbacks with at least 150 snaps, Mariota's eighth in that department. Daniels is 14th. Mariota has a higher success rate, higher completion percentage, more air yards, same exact adjusted EPA per play. Now, I'm not saying Mariota's better than Daniels. I'm just saying this isn't, this line is like the Rams coming to Baltimore and facing Cooper Rush with a JV defense. Mariota is a serviceable backup, where I think the drop off to this version of Daniels, what we've seen this year, that hasn't been in rhythm with his receivers, is only like 3 points. So I'm getting to like 6.5, 6, 7. So obviously anything over a touchdown, I'm willing to bet. Now you could say Washington's defensive injuries, McLaurin, all those are fair points. Now Lattimore being out, I don't care. He's
yeah,
completely
he's good
washed.
bad. It might be better without probably not,
Yeah,
but
they might have better options. Luvu's going to play. He got his suspension repealed. Um, there's some other injuries, but like the Washington defense has been so bad, I don't like none of these losses are huge. They still aren't able to generate consistent pressure off the edge due to injuries. That's a problem here, but they can get pressure up the middle, and that can be problematic for Goff, who by the way is going to be outdoors here. Could be some wind conditions, probably very helpful to Washington, slowing down that Lions offense, the field conditions. And this, people aren't talking enough about how broken the Lions offense is. Since October 1st, and they faced the Bengals over that stretch. 24th in success rate, 17th EPA per play, 29th in rush success rate. You know who's number one over that stretch? Bears. So I think that's two things. They missed Ben Johnson and the offensive line. The offensive line is significantly worse than last year, as we thought it might be in the interior. And now there are significant injuries. So, they downgraded the drop off from Ragnow to Glasgow is enormous at center. And now you lost Mahogany at guard. It's not great, but your backup now, I was sick of, not good. Your tackles both might miss. Decker and Sewell. Decker has not been the same. He's just been banged up all year. And Sewell is one of the top two or three tackles in all football. They don't think that either are going to practice this week. We don't know if either are going to go. Sewell's probably more likely than Decker, but if they both can't go, I mean Skipper didn't even practice that. I don't even know what
yeah,
tackles they have. They have like Manu, who they had to start earlier this year, is on IR. They have like Sorsdale and Jones. They're both on IR. Like if they can't go, I don't even know who the tackles are. So and the Washington has some interior. They have some guys that can get some interior pressure on Goff. They're probably going to bring some pressure up there. They saw the formula that the Vikings used last week to just expose that beat up offensive line. Assuming we're going to see some similar stuff there, and this is still a functional Washington offensive line. It's still a decent run game. They're seventh in rush success rate. Mariota can still move. The Lions run D this year, 17th in success rate. So I think Washington, what they're going to do here, McLaurin's not going to play. McCaffrey on IR. I think they're going to go like more 12 personnel, heavy, run the ball, use Mariota's legs, ball control, and I think they can move it that way against this Lions defense, who, by the way, also isn't fully healthy in the secondary. So, like, this isn't nowhere close to a fully healthy Lions team. The offensive line is a mess. The secondary is still beat up. So I just can't get over a touchdown here. And for what it's worth, dogs of 3 or more on a current losing streak with an average cover margin of more than -2 touchdowns over their past 4 games. So think about that. Teams lost a bunch in a row. Over the last 4 games, their average cover margin is -14.5 or more. That means they haven't been close. No one wants to bet this. No one wants to come near this team. So you're usually getting some value. Those teams, 57, 34, and 3 against the spread, 63%, covering by about 2.5 points per game. I think that this line is like 1.5, 2 points too high. So I'm gonna hold my nose here, take the Commanders against the Lions. This Lions offense is not firing on all cylinders. And think about it. I could also give you a ton of Dan Campbell stats. I think he's 12-0 against the spread after losses. I could have done the same last week off the bye at home. This is not the same Lions team right now due to the injuries, due to the state of the offensive line. I mean, losing at home to JJ McCarthy,
Who
red
threw for like
flag.
140 yards too.
Yeah, red flag. So I mean the Lions. I mean, if you look back, their most impressive performances this year. It's like against the beat up Bucks team at home when Baker Mayfield was completely off. They went into Baltimore when Baltimore's defense was in shambles. Uh, but this is not the same Lions team. Commanders are a mess. I get it, but I'm getting 8.5 at home. So give me Washington.
Yeah, I mean that was just it left a bad taste in my mouth last week betting Washington. I thought they would show up more than they did against Darnold. And at one point, I think Darnold was averaging 17.6 yards per pass attempt. He was like 13 of 13. I don't think I've ever seen a higher
His
YPN
EPA per
box
play in the
score.
first half was
Perfect.
astronomical.
Yeah, it was just absurd. So at some point these teams, we talk about these trends all the time. These teams that get blown out, at some point, it tends to overcorrect. Now, this could be the week. The Lions might have no offensive linemen, and their defense is still shaky, even though the numbers tend to be good. And they're outdoors and it's golf. So, yeah,
Yeah,
I don't mind
outdoor
that.
golf with no offensive line. It's going to be a pillow fight up front. Who can win, the Washington defensive line or the Detroit backup, the Washington backups or the Detroit backups? But yeah, I just think it's too high. So I'll take it. This is like assuming that Mariota is like Rush, in my opinion.
Yeah, I mean, Mariota, he's
I mean, think
in.
about it. Wouldn't you take Seattle over Detroit right now? Like, given the state of their teams, offensive line
Yes.
injuries, you take Seattle, close 3, 2. What was it? 2.5, expensive 2.5, 3 last week.
Yeah, I think it was three. I think it definitely stayed at three.
3. And now we're at 8.5 without Mariota. And it's a beat. And I would clearly take this is assuming the Lions, state of the Lions right now are a top 3 team. And I do not think that's the case right now, given their injuries. Where are you going?
I mean, we're gonna keep it ugly. So for my first pick, the second overall of the week 10 6-pack, I'm going with the Houston Texans plus 1.5 at home against the Jaguars. CJ Stroud, we knew he was gonna miss. There is a 9-day median between concussion in the new protocol. So most guys are gonna miss in that spot. So I was
What do you got? Like
projecting
10% chance?
yeah, it's kind of at the tails. So I was projecting the Texans to have Davis Mills at quarterback the entire time, and I think this number is just getting out of hand now. At first I was like, okay, it's gonna be like a pick 'em. Now the
He
Jaguars
just
are
got officially
favored.
ruled out 1 second
Yeah,
ago, for what it's worth.
yeah, I saw. Yeah, we knew that. So listen, it's kind of what you're saying. Like Davis Mills is not good, but look at the other side of this matchup, and Jacoby Myers is not just gonna fix the Jaguars offense. First of all, Jacoby Myers has been the most like average receiver, not making really a ton of impact, even though he's a high volume guy. He just happened to be a high volume guy in a bad team. But if you look at his numbers and just watch him play, like I don't think he's gonna add another element to this offense. Now, Travis Hunter on IR, Brian Thomas is banged up, Diami Brown is banged up. Trevor Lawrence just continues to sink in the advanced metrics. Like now, in a EPA per play completion percentage over expected composite, Trevor Lawrence is bottom 3. He's ahead of only Cam Ward and Dylan Gabriel. That's where we're at. So now you're telling me the Jags are supposed to be a road favorite here. The real difference in this game is going to be the defense. It's going to be the defense for Houston, because the Jaguars' offense with Lawrence is no guarantee, especially with all these guys banged up, to be significantly better than the Texans at home with Davis Mills. Their receiving core should be healthy. Nico should be in there. And this Jags team is, adjusted sack rate. They're terrible. Like they're a lot of turnover luck early in the year, and Mills could give you one of those, but this Jags defense is nothing special. They're not getting a ton of pressure. Houston's at home where they always play better. The skill players are still there. They'll have time to prepare for a Stroud absence. And the Jaguars are banged up on offense too, and their offensive numbers are equally terrible as a Davis Mills-led offense could be. So I still make Houston a favorite. I just think Jacksonville, I don't know how much Myers is going to be able to, contribute here. We'll see. They might need him to, but Strange is still on IR. I mean, this team is just a little more decimated than I think people think. And the defense was never as good as people think. So I just don't know how much Liam Cohen's going to be able to do in this spot when Houston's defense has been so dominant to the point where, Houston's the better team in like net EPA per play. That's offense and defense, DVOA. And they're at home. So yeah, Stroud is worth probably have it around a little over a field goal, but this Jags team trending down for me. So give me Houston plus 1.5. It might. You think it gets to like above? You think it gets to 3? Nah, right?
No.
Yeah, it's got it. I mean,
so a couple things. I kind of agree with you. I mean, Jags coming off an OT game, second straight road game, right? Like, that's not ideal either. And Jordan Lewis, who's important, didn't practice today. He's banged up. And he's been very good for them. Devin Lloyd, banged up. Ezra Cleveland didn't practice today. Brian Thomas didn't practice today. Hunter Long, their backup tight end, didn't practice today.
Yeah, their offense is decimated.
Yeah. So, and then I don't know how they consistently move the ball here. The one thing that I'm worried about is also Devin Lloyd. He's worth. I don't know his status, but he's a little banged up. The one thing I'm worried about here with the Texans is they're just figure out how to sneak the ball. They did it 2 weeks ago against the Niners. They were doing the tush push, and they didn't do it last week. But their goal line,
British Brooks, like, why is British Brooks getting carries and at the goal line?
Their goal line is unbelievable. But Titus Howard has a concussion, and the Texans have fixed some of their offensive line issues in protection. Like last week, the Broncos had the second lowest pressure rate of the year. And part of that has to do with they're using more 6 offensive linemen.
Yeah.
Using more jumbo. So if Howard can't go, I mean, it's tough because then you're probably starting Blake Fisher, who's really bad. And I don't know. Do you use Trent Brown? Has Trent Brown even played this year? I think he's still on the roster. That's what concerns me. Blake Fisher cannot pass protect at all. And the Jags do have some good edge rushers. So that worries me a bit. But I do think that ultimately the Texans defense probably gets this done. My approach to this game, though, I haven't bet it yet. I don't know if I maybe just want to bet the Jags team total under or tease if this like at 1.5, teasing the Texans, I think makes a ton of sense. Maybe pair it with like the Jets which I'll get to in a bit. So yeah, I don't hate your look here.
I mean,
Um,
the only thing I would say about the Jags team total under is what would cause Houston to probably lose this game, probably giving up a defensive touchdown or something. So I feel like it kind of just goes back to just taking Houston because like if the
yeah, but there's
if
a world where like the Texans like there's a world where the Texans lose like 17-14. If they
fair,
throw a pick six. I mean they lost 18-15 last week. Um,
yeah, I mean that's your bad taste, but I mean the Texans at home, Mills or not. I mean, this Trevor Lawrence offense to me is just not better
like
right
what do you
now.
think the Texans ceiling is here? Like it's probably like 20 to 23 points.
But what's the Jaguars' offensive ceiling?
I know
Same
that's what I'm saying though, but they're
thing.
going to be favored. So like, um,
Yeah, it's fair. That's a fair point.
it's just what I'm thinking. So, but I don't mind your look here.
All right, where you going?
It's either Texans or nothing. But for my second pick and the third overall of the Week 10 Sunday six pack, I'm going with the Arizona Cardinals plus 6.5 at the Seattle Seahawks. Have not bet this yet. Doesn't matter for the contest because pushes or losses. Wait on a seven. Even if it's a plus seven minus 120, that's what I'm doing. If it never pops, I'm still playing the Cardinals plus 6.5. I think the Cardinals are the most underrated team in the NFL right now, even after what they did in Dallas, completely shutting down that Dallas offense, which goes off every time they play at home. And there's a couple of reasons for that. Number one, the offense is better with Brissett. I mean, since he took over in week six, 11th in EPA per play, 19th or ninth in success rate, 11th in rush EPA, 12th in dropback EPA. And by the way, weeks 1 through 5, they were worse in all those stats. I mean, they were 23rd in success rate compared to ninth with Brissett. 20th in rush EPA over the first 5 weeks, 11th since, and that's without Murray's legs and without their backs. The whole offense is a much smoother operation. I mean, Marvin Harrison now looks good. He's involved in the offense, and everything is better with Brissett. He has the lowest turnover worthy play rate in the league. He doesn't take the bad sacks. And by the way, that has what's killed Kyler Murray against the Seahawks team. The Seahawks have owned the Cardinals under McDonald because they own Kyler Murray. Own him. He can do nothing against them. Over the past 3 games, over the past 2 seasons, he's averaging about 6 yards per attempt. He has 5 interceptions and 13 sacks. Just killer
So
negative
just
plays.
so that's just Kyler Murray though. He's just
I
normal
know,
Kyler.
but but it's even worse. I mean, it's been even
I
worse
know,
against
I
Seattle.
know.
So the Arizona's changed some of its offense, some of the play action usage, and Brissett just has a better command of this offense right now. There's a reason they just told Murray to go away. Don't think that has anything to do with his injury. And then the defense. The Cardinals defense is, I think, one of the most underappreciated units in the league. And by the way, in the first matchup, the Cardinals, in Cardinal fashion, lost 23-20. They held the Seattle offense down as well as anyone we've seen all year.
JSN had like no catches through 3 quarters or something like, or two and a half
Yep.
quarters, like it was, or one catch, something like that. Yeah,
And Will Johnson and Garrett Williams didn't even play in that game. They were without all their corners. And here's the thing. Here's what Seattle is doing right now. And I'm a believer in Seattle. I have them as a top 5 team, top 5 power rated team right now. Also, Walter Nolan made his debut. He was amazing. Gives them enough more juice on the defensive line. And Ernest Jones might miss for Seattle. And that's a big
that's
loss if he
big. Yeah.
misses, especially against the run. And like that, Seattle doesn't have depth there. Um, so he like that could be a big loss. Um, so this defense, which will have Will Johnson, has been one of the best corners in the NFL this year as a rookie. Garrett Williams will be back. Walter Nolan in there. So this defense just has many more pieces than it does. But with all their three high safety looks, they don't blitz. They don't take the bait. So like Sam Darnold has been arguably the best quarterback. I think you could say that he's been the best quarterback in the
Yeah.
NFL this year, and he's been unbelievable. He's been amazing, and he's been incredible against the blitz. Well, the Cardinals don't blitz. Been incredible on play action. Cardinals are pretty good in that department, and he's been awesome with explosive passes. Well, Arizona's elite in that aspect in preventing explosive plays. They're going to keep everything in front of them, and they're not going to blitz. And here's the thing: what Seattle is doing, they can't really run the ball efficiently, but they do it because it sets up everything. They go heavy a lot, and it sets up all the play action. It sets up all the deep shots. And JSN's already been the best receiver. But Arizona's defense, and everyone's been biting for it, and they're playing. Arizona's defense won't. They can play the run here without bringing safeties down, without compromising their back end. So I think that they're set up to actually contain this Seattle offense. So I think we're at the very peak of the Seahawks in the market. Could be wrong, but now that they're in the top five, and I still think Arizona is undervalued. And by the way, this Arizona team, I mean, they've lost 3 games at the buzzer. They have not lost by more than 4 all year. And 2 of those were with Brissett at Indianapolis and against the Packers. It's not like Brissett hasn't played anybody. And this team will be in every game. So, and Seattle, for whatever reason, under McDonald, they just go on the road and destroy everyone, but they haven't been great against the number at home. Divisional game, home field isn't as much. So, yeah, I like Arizona here to hold this explosive Seattle offense in check and keep it close enough with an improved offense with Brissett at the helm and cover this number. But it's at 6.5. Wait, see if you can get a 7, but I'll be on it regardless. So give me Arizona.
Yeah, I think Seattle. I mean, I thought the peak of the market was last week, and it's silly me. But I did like the move they made for Shaheed. Familiar with the offense, that's going to help. And
But
Darnold
how
has
much
been
different is
amazing.
Shaheed than Horton, though? Like, did he probably like?
It's better than having having to rely on Cup. Like now they have
Yeah, but they
juice
don't use a
everywhere.
ton of. You think they're going to use more 11 personnel now? That kind of like it defeats how effective their offense has been.
Well, yeah, I mean, yes and no, because I was like part of my cap coming into that Commanders game was okay. The Commanders, defense not good, but they do man up, play some single high. You tend to need to beat that with, more, wide receiver centric schemes. And Seattle just wasn't in a position to do that last week with everyone hurt. So it's a good move for them going forward. Does it make a big impact in this game? Maybe, maybe not. But I agree with Arizona. I mean, Arizona is just they're gonna just kind of sit back in.
Three eye safeties.
Yeah. And that's the kind, that's what you need to do. Just slow Seattle down, drag things out, longer drives, more likely Darnold makes some mistakes. Kind of like, the Colts. Like you gotta just chill out and just let Daniel Jones screw up. You can't be over aggressive. So I think the good spot for Arizona. Oh, like short week, but they're a lot better with Brissett. Like McBride scores touchdowns. Harrison, like you said, is present. They didn't. I don't think they targeted
Engaged.
Zay Jones. Yeah, I don't think they targeted Zay Jones, which good. So yeah, I think this team is just getting a lot smarter, and the quarterback has a lot. Dictates that to a large extent. And Brissett ran for a touchdown last week. So like, what is he giving? What is Kyler giving you at this point that Brissett can't? All right. Before we move on, there's a quick and easy way for you to tail us and our bets. Just sign up for Action Pro. You'll get instant notifications when any Action Network expert tracks a bet, whether that's me, Stuck, Brandon Anderson, Sean Kerner. You want to get those right away. Plus, you can access our pro projections powered by Sean Kerner and our predictive analytics team and a ton of other benefits as well. Just go to actionnetwork.com/pro and get $20 off the annual subscription price with promo code POD20. That's POD20. So don't miss out on the best bets at the best prices. Visit actionnetwork.com/pro and use promo code POD20 to get 20 off a year of Action Pro. The rest of our Sunday six pack is coming up, but first I'll throw it to myself for a quick word from our sponsor. The Action Network podcast is sponsored by DraftKings Sportsbook, and in partnership with DraftKings, Action Network podcast listeners get a great offer. Right now, new customers can bet $5 and get $300 back in bonus bets if your bet wins, and 3 months of NBA League Pass. Love the thrill of live betting? DraftKings has got you covered. Bet live on star player props and in-progress games right as they happen. To get started, use promo code Action Network when signing up with DraftKings. That's code Action Network when signing up with DraftKings for 3 months of NBA League Pass and $300 back in bonus bets if your bet wins. The crown is yours. All right, for my second pick, the 4th overall of the Week 10 Sunday six pack, I am rolling with San Francisco 49ers plus 4.5 at home against the Rams. Now, the Rams are great. They're right there. Them in Seattle, I think, are the cream of the crop right now in the NFC, probably better than the Lions and the Eagles, who everyone I think has up there. But number one, this is always going to be a Niner spot for me. Home dog. First of all, 4.5. I mean, this number was just 3.5. It's continuing to grow. They played early. Now, the worst thing about this is that they played earlier in the season, and the Niners escaped with that win after Kyron fumbled. And, so this is a revenge spot for the Rams. But Shanahan tends to have McVay's number in these spots. The Niners defense is still decimated, but I think it's going to be Mac Jones again. But either way, you might get Pearsall back finally this week. I don't know. He might be a figment of our imagination. But for the Rams, Puka Nacua could be banged up. He seems to be getting knocked out of every game at this point. He still puts up, top 10 numbers. But I just think this coaching matchup is kind of the equalizer here. And now you're getting, 4.5 at home for this Niners team. I just think this is more of a, two inside of a field goal type of situation here. If you look at the Shanahan McVay matchup, money line, Shanahan has a 37% ROI against McVay, a 61% straight up winning percentage. So if you had just blindly bet every one of these spots on the money line, you would be making a killing. Now, same record spread in money line, so I'll probably have some money line here too. McVay off a multi-game winning streak. This Rams team could come back down to earth a little. 17-28 against the spread, just 38%. We'll see what happens with the kicker, but remember, road game outdoors in San Francisco, so that kicker could come into play. And if for some reason Cardi isn't the kicker, then then you lose some of the kickoff stuff that he does well. But McVay's kind of getting fed up with the field goals. So either way, I think that works in the Niners' favor. And this is just a coaching matchup game for me. 4.5. I think this number is too big. I can't get there. I don't expect the Rams. I think the Rams, this might be a field goal type of game for the Rams. So give me anything over a field goal. 49ers.
I'll have more on this game later, but I will say since 2019, these teams have faced each other 14 times, including the playoffs. Underdog 13-1 against the spread.
Ridiculous.
10 out of 14, dog won outright. All right. I'll have more on this game later, as I said. For my third pick and the fifth overall of the Week 10 Sunday six pack, I'm going with the Baltimore Ravens first half minus 2.5 at the Minnesota Vikings. Going back to over reliable here. I mean, I can give you the stats. Harbaugh extra prep first half against the spread, 62%, 12-5 against the spread on the road in the first half, 10-3 against the spread as a road favorite in the first half with extra prep, 77%, covering by a field goal per game, which is insane. And I didn't even get to Lamar, who's the GOAT in the first half, 61, 36, and 2 against the spread, 63%, covering by a field goal per game. As a favorite, 53, 30, and 2, covering by over a field goal per game, which is insane. As a favorite, covering by over a field goal per game. How about as a road favorite? 28, 10, and 1 against the spread, 74%, covering by 5 points per game. Extra time for Lamar to prep, extra time for Harbaugh. Extra time for Lamar to heal up, get even healthier. I think his mobility will be better here. The offense is 100% healthy. They can run how they ran last year. All the personnel groupings that they want to run. This offense now is at full strength. And by the way, the defense now is as healthy as it's going to be all year. The defensive line, still the biggest question mark on the team. I wish they added someone. They added Draymond Jones. But the Vikings aren't really an efficient rushing attack. They are I think they're bottom 10 EPA per rush success rate.
Jones is banged up too.
Yep, Jones banged up. So I don't think they can fully take advantage. And the Ravens, in order to generate pressure, they're blitzing more. McCarthy has looked lost against the blitz so far. But Lamar, against these NFC teams early on in games, they're usually well prepared. And it just takes some time for these teams, especially when they see Lamar for the first time, to adjust. And what do the Vikings like to do? They like the blitz. Lamar, you don't want to blitz Lamar. This year against the blitz, which he's seen at the seventh highest rate, which is insane. I don't know why teams are blitzing that high. He has a 79% completion percentage, which is the highest in the NFL by far. I think the next is like 72. 7 touchdowns, 1 interception. And with a 79% completion percentage, he has the second highest yards per attempt and the fourth highest A dot. Last year, he ripped apart the blitz as well. Ravens also number one in explosive run percentage. Vikings struggle in that department. So, yeah, I think Ravens' sense of urgency, everything I'm hearing around the team is good. Just ride with Lamar in the first half. Look, I thought McCarthy made some nice throws last week, but didn't have to do much. I think that was more about Goff, the offensive line injuries, not being able to handle the blitz. And uh, this Vikings offense, I think, is still going to be limited. Ravens trending up on both sides of the ball. I like the Ravens to jump out here.
Yeah, I mean, you're probably the best Ravens handicapper I know, period. So I always trust you with the Ravens. They're kind of a hard team to bet because they're always favored by so much. But yeah, Lamar against NFC. And you know, I was on the Vikings last week and
Same. I joined you.
Yeah, it started out well, but yeah, McCarthy wasn't as impressive as maybe the final score would have looked if you just didn't really see the game. I mean, a lot of it was Vikings were just healthier last week, and you know now I think it's getting a little excessive because the Vikings were where they get to like 9.5 at last week, and now they're sitting here. I know they're at home, but still, talking about I saw the number get down to 3.5 earlier today, and like this this Ravens team, to your point, offensively as healthy as they've been all year, and that's significant because this is a team that runs so many different heavy personnel groupings. It's not like most teams are just 1-1 on pass downs, and whatever their go-to is on on early downs heavy, like two tight ends for most teams. Some teams do a fullback, but the Ravens mix it up, and I think they have the element of Lamar running, so I think that helps Henry. You can't blitz Lamar, so that just takes a whole like it's and you're going from statue Goff to the speed of Lamar in 1 week. So yeah, it's just a tough spot, and we've seen this Vikings team just unravel on both sides of the ball at different points. So yeah, I think it makes sense for the Ravens to get it done here.
Yeah, I think extra prep helps too because I do remember I think Lamar's faced Flores twice. Once I think once they won 59-10, but there was a short week game when
Yeah.
Flores on a Thursday night in Miami. Do you remember this? And Lamar couldn't do
Yes,
anything
can do not. Yeah, yeah.
against the blitz on a short week. They blitzed they ran the same blitz 37 times in the game.
Who
The Vikings.
who is the? I remember I'm seeing an image of I think it was a Dolphin player like flipped up in the air and did like the craziest, like just landed on his head, like but didn't get in the end zone. Do you remember who that was? It was
Oh
that same
yeah.
game.
I forget who
Oh,
that was. I remember. But yeah, they blitzed like a million
yeah,
times. And
yeah.
so but I think having the extra prep here, and generally for the past couple of years, especially as his career's gone on, Lamar is like basically unblitzable. So yeah, I like the Ravens to get a lead here. Where are you going for the final pick?
For my third pick, final pick, and the final pick of the Week 10 Sunday six pack, going with the New York Football Giants plus 4.5 at the Chicago Bears. Now, number one, this is a rare A-rated luck rankings game. The Giants have been one of the most unlucky teams this season. Now, it looks like they're just horrible with Jackson Dart, but if you peek under the hood, they're about 0.04 EPA per play
I think Dart's been
better.
good.
Yeah, I do too. But it hasn't always shown up in the final scores. So if you look at the offense compared to their season-long numbers, they're about 0.04 EPA per play better, which that essentially takes this from what would be Bears favored by what they are to more inside a field goal. And I think this Bears team, it's hard to fully handicap them, especially in a spot like this against the Giants, because the schedules. I mean, the Bears' schedule this year, they face one of the easiest, third easiest according to DVOA. Only New England and Buffalo have faced easier schedules. And you look at the Bears, and they needed a second touchdown from a guy who entered the game essentially as their number 2 tight end, to win that game. Their defense is not good. The Giants defense is not good either, but that's priced in 4.5. Like now you're talking about over a field goal, over a hook even. And this Bears defense, what is it? I mean, everyone wants to kind of knock the Giants defense. It's not good, but guys have been missing. Maybe we'll get some guys back this week.
Yeah, that's what I'm worried about. Like also their O-line, like, or Schmitz, Illuminor. I know that they're not great, but
Dart helps it. Yeah.
Yeah, he helps there. But like Holland, Flott,
the whole secondary has been out. Yeah.
Are they gonna play? That's the major
question.
There's
a chance. I mean, I'm just kind of banking on it's early in the week. I want to play this number now because I make this number. I mean, my delta's like closing in on a field goal here. I just think these are two bad teams with bad defenses. And I think Caleb Williams is more likely to make a costly mistake than even Dart in this spot. And the Bears, I mean, they're not super healthy on defense. I know they made a trade, but they lost their Gordon. This is just a defense that got shredded by Joe Flacco.
They're not the same without Gordon and Johnson. That's what's killed them.
And that's
they can't get a pass rush.
They can't get a pass rush. Giants have Slayton back, which usually is a non-factor, but I mean they're just throwing everything at the wall now at receiver, and I think it's actually benefiting them because now they're at the point where they don't play Hyatt 80% of the time when they need a third receiver. Like we saw Ushevsky make a play last week. They were mixing in Bo Collins, more Bellinger. If he's back, I don't think he is, but Fedoni, that number 2 tight end, he can do some things. So I think the Giants are trending up offensively. I think they've just been super unlucky with Jackson Dart, who has been excellent compared to Russell Wilson. I mean, when you're adding close to like 0.05 EPA per play, that could significantly change an offense over the course of 60 plays. And the reason Dart has so much impact is because he's running the ball. Nice call on the touchdown last week, but there's just nothing. I don't expect this Bears defense to get stops, and the Giants still do have a pass rush here. The Bears, we know what they're going to do. They're probably going to go run heavy, and they're going
to run all over New York.
Yeah, they'll have success doing it. But
this is the best rushing offense over the past month versus the worst rushing defense in the league. So they're going to have success running. But I do think the Giants can keep up. But so I think this line at 4.5 has gotten a little too high because the Bears defense, it's been so turnover reliant, and without that, they can't stop anything. For what it's worth, Schmitz didn't practice. Luminor didn't practice. Gano, that's another thing I'm worried about with the Giants. Like, who's going to be kicking? Adebo was on the side with trainers. Bellinger, Flott, and Holland were participating in the brief open.
Oh, that's really good.
So, but Flott's a concussion. So
yeah, he's probably missing. But if I can get like a Holland and Bellinger is actually big for their offense because that just gives them another option now and you have Slayton back. So like Dart, I think he knows where to go with the ball. He knows when to scramble. Hopefully he just doesn't throw the ball on the ground like he did against the Saints a few weeks ago. But I've been impressed with Dart. And if you like a lot of the metrics for the Bears, I mean, how good, because look at I didn't even mention the Giants schedule because the Bears, we know they faced the Raiders and they faced the Bengals and they faced all these Commanders, all these atrocious defenses. Giants are one, but probably a little better, especially if they get a couple of guys back. But Jackson Dart is number 12 in adjusted EPA per play. Caleb Williams is number 21. And that's with like that, all these terrible defenses, so facing all these terrible defenses. And the Giants have faced the Niners, who, yeah, they're bad, but Eagles, Broncos. Like the Giants have faced some formidable just opponents, period. So I think that's kind of the equalizer for me, is that there could be some unrealized schedule adjustment. Like it's always tricky. But we are at the point in the season where we know the teams that are bad, and they happen to be all the teams that the Bears have faced. I mean, the Raiders, the Commanders, the Bengals. It's just like a comedy of terrible, terrible defenses. So I could see the Bears kind of struggling a little bit here. And now, the Giants, like if they get guys in the secondary back at all, do they play more aggressive? Like, do they try to devote more resources to the run? Because we saw Roma Dunze could go missing. So and how much, what are the Bears going to do with Menenjai versus Swift? Like, is it just his backfield now? Because he looked great, but they're just for me, I think this might be the top of the market. It sounds crazy, but this Bears team that I think is just still a bottom third team, favored by 4.5 against a similar team. Give me the Giants. And A-rated luck game, that usually means a cover rate over at or over 60% historically. So love.
Hopefully you don't get one of the 2 annual Giants kicker.
Oh my God.
Because Gano didn't practice today. I don't even know who they would sign.
Just not the what is it, the international guy?
He got
just
cut. Yeah, he's not.
Oh yeah, but I mean, how they
They can't bring him back.
They cannot.
No way.
Don't they have young Old Ho? Don't they have Old Ho?
I don't know what he might be on the practice squad. Maybe he'll be kicking.
Anyone, like, just make sure if Gano has any type of questionable, just elevate a second kicker, because it's always ridiculous how, like, it's happened like 3 or 4 times, and yeah, that it would be terrible. But 4.5, I mean, this is probably just going to come down to Bears.
Who had the ball?
Yeah, like what they giving Bears 4.5 because they won by 5 last week. Bears should have got. The Bears should have lost that game, but I digress. Let's see what we got. I know it's going to be ugly here. We got Jackson Dart, Mac Jones, or a turf-toed Brock Purdy, Davis Mills, Jacoby Brissett,
Mariota,
and
I got Lamar at least.
Yeah, like but that's kind of how we do on the 6-pack.
Yeah.
Like five shaky, 1 Dart has a good futures, but 5 shaky and 1 elite. That's how we do it. So that was our week 10 Sunday 6-pack. If you'd like to tail some of these picks, just look for the quick slip link in the podcast and video description, and make sure to sign up for Action Pro for instant notifications when all of our bets are tracked.